Welcome back to my live show. I'm Shanta Prince, and I help women coaches build their personal brands, create their high ticket offers, and get paying clients. I just turned my phone off to make sure it was on silent, but now my computer is beeping. But anywho, we're going to go ahead and get started with the content today. So, I wanted to talk to you today about mindset shifts that grow your business. And I really wanted to focus on some of the things that I know for sure are keeping some of you back. And so it's really more of like a heart to heart and helping you to understand what it takes to grow a successful business, but also helping you to really make the mindset shifts that you need to get to that next level. I know you already know this, but a lot of people don't succeed in business. Like a lot of people don't make it past a certain point in business, and there's some reasons behind that. As a matter of fact, some of the stuff that I'm going to talk to you about today, I had some of these conversations with a client about the importance of really understanding your mission and taking it seriously, taking your purpose seriously, taking what God is calling you to do right now seriously. And when you take what you're doing seriously, then you show up differently. And so that really is the first thing that I wanted to talk about is how important it is to stop underestimating what you do every day or what you're called to do. And I think that like with what I'm seeing with the women entrepreneurs, you guys by now you know that I work with women entrepreneurs, and what I see with people that I don't work directly with, and sometimes with people that I work directly with, is that there's a real struggle to really see that what you do is bigger than you. And that is the number one thing to understand, that what you do is bigger than you, that your work has the power to put your entire family in a whole different tax bracket, in a whole different financial place. Your work has the power to pave the way for your family to break out of generational cycles, and so much more than that. But what happens is you start to see your business as more of a burden than a key that can unlock your future, a key that can unlock your family's future. And because of that, you're playing small. And that's not, you playing small is not serving anybody. If you're not taking your business seriously, if you're not taking your purpose seriously, that's not helping anybody. Okay? And if you're at a point where you're like, oh my goodness, like sometimes life hits us. We've over these last few years we have experienced some, some crazy things and some unexpected things. But one thing that can really relieve the stress of the times is not worrying about money, not worrying about when gas prices are rising, not worrying about inflation and things like that. And when you're able to do that, hey, it frees you up to be able to do other things, right? So imagine while everyone is worried about inflation, you're thinking about, okay, how can I serve my audience right now? How can I, set my family up for success? How can I help people during this time? Because when you're doing what you're supposed to do, it gets you out of survival mode, and it gets you in a space where you're able to serve people. So when you're in survival mode, all you can do is think about yourself, right? It's just human nature, right? It's just our it's our deep desire to survive that makes us only focus on ourselves when we're in survival mode. And it's hard to do that when you're not doing the things that you're supposed to do, right? So when your business is making money and you're doing the things that you know you should be doing, then it frees you up to focus on different things. So when other people are struggling, you're able to start saying, well, how can I help them? Instead of you saying, okay, like, how can I help myself? I'm in survival mode. All I can think about is myself. You can't help anybody in survival mode. Okay. And so what you really got to do is get out of survival mode so that you can serve people with a clear mind, a clear head, and you're not stressed about the same things that other people are stressing about. And that's kind of a part of being a leader. All entrepreneurs are leaders, right? We're all leaders. And so when you're focusing on the understanding of, okay, this thing is so much bigger than me. I was just having a talk with one of my clients about how she's able to do grow her business and change her family's life because she's going to have that extra income coming in, and she could do some of the things that she wants to do for her family. But on the flip side of that, she's changing other people's lives and in turn changing other families' lives because of what she's pouring into her clients. She's able to shift things in other people's homes because of the things that she's teaching her clients. And so that's an example of understanding how something can seem small to you, but it's really bigger than you. So if she had taken her knowledge and just sat on this knowledge and never shared it, then those lives would never have been impacted by her. And so that is an example of like how this thing, your business is so much bigger than you. It's not about you. It's about what your business is going to provide for your family and the potential that your business has if you take it seriously. If you're still in a place where you are not setting aside time to focus on your business, then you're behind. Okay. And you can change that today by saying, okay, I know I've got a lot going on, but I know that God is calling me to this. And therefore, I need to take the time to grow my business, to focus on my business. And that could mean something as simple as not watching Netflix, right? If you watch Netflix, you got enough time to grow a business. That is the truth, because you can actually turn off that movie or turn Netflix off, turn the TV off, and use that time to work on your business. And you'd be surprised at how much you can get done by just an hour a day or a certain amount of time. If you take 5 hours a week, let's say you work a full-time job, but you're growing your business on the side, and you absolutely could. You could grow your business to the point where you could actually leave your job. And if you're giving an hour of focus, dedicated time a day to your business, you can accomplish so much. You can do 2 consultation calls within an hour and close 2 new clients within an hour. You could schedule your content for the week within an hour. You could create content within an hour. Like if you really take that time and focus each of those hours, you can accomplish a lot by the end of the week. It's just the time, just putting the time aside and focusing in on what you need to accomplish. And I think one of the other struggles when it comes to this is the belief. People struggle with believing that the success that they're dreaming about is possible for them. Like you kind of believe it, but not enough to really stand firm on that thing and take action. It's easy to believe for other people, but when it comes to believing for yourself, it's a struggle, because it's like, okay, now I believe this person can do it, but can I really do it for myself? You absolutely can. And I've said this before, that success does not discriminate. Success does not pick and choose who to bless. Success comes to anybody who's willing to do the work, which leads me to my second point for the day. Okay. The first thing that we were talking about is really taking what you do seriously, waking up every day with the mindset of, okay, I got to go serve my people. I got to go do what God is calling me to do. The second thing is that I really wanted to talk about is making sure that you understand how difficult this is, how difficult business is, but also being willing to do the work. So it's kind of like 2 points, like kind of like 2 and 3 mixed together. Accepting that business is hard, number one. It is hard. And if I told you it was easy, I would be lying. I say this all the time. This is everyone. This is not for everyone. Business is not for everyone. And I think that it makes my heart sad to see how many people have put their businesses on the shelves, like permanently. And instead of understanding that it's not easy and that everybody is not cut out for this, there's a difference between not being cut out for business and then going through the normal struggles that business people go through. Behind the scenes, like entrepreneurs go through a lot of stuff. We deal with a lot of things, but we're also wired to deal with these things. We're also wired to be able to carry these things. And so that's a huge difference between, like, okay, like for example, my daughter is a dancer, and just recently she got her point shoes, which is a huge accomplishment for ballet dancers. When they get to that point where they're able to start wearing point shoes, it takes a lot of work to not just prepare the shoe, like they're in the preparation phase right now They're sewing on their ribbons, sewing on their elastic. So the shoe itself takes a lot of work to prep that thing. And then it takes a lot of time to learn how to wear them. Like, for example, she does the Nutcracker every year, but this year she may not be ready to wear her point shoes for the Nutcracker. That's, I mean, because it takes a lot of time. So not only does she has work that she has to accomplish before she can even get to point shoes, ballerinas, they need at least 2 to 3 years of ballet training before they can even get qualified to wear point shoes. And then after that, you have to you have to learn how to sew and learn how to do all these different things to prepare the shoe. And then you got to go through some intensive training to be able to wear the shoe. So this process is it's a long process, right? But the thing is, when she was getting fitted for her shoe, they were asking her like, okay, does the shoe feel tight, or how is it feeling? And she kept saying it's too tight, it's too tight. But thank goodness that these trainers, her teachers, are skilled enough to be able to ask her the right questions to really understand what she's describing. So what they explained to her was that the shoe is supposed to be tight. Okay. So what they did is they asked her enough questions to figure out, is the shoe, or is what you're feeling the tightness of wearing a point shoe, or is your shoe just too small, right? And so when they got down to it, they realized that she was just experiencing the tightness of wearing point shoes for the very first time. And so that is the same way with business. We experience difficulties of building a business, but that doesn't mean that we're not cut out for it. So you really have to be able to discern, am I just not cut out for this thing, or am I just experiencing the difficulties of growing a business? Right? It's two different things. And I see people quit and they go back to work. And I'm not saying don't do what you have to do, because if you need to bring income in, then you have to do what you have to do. But you can go back to work and still build your business on the side, right? You don't have to put it on the shelf permanently. You can still build your business on the side if you end up needing to go back to work. But when you're called to something, it's something that you hold on to, and you never can let that thing go. I had a client who she told me, she's like, listen, I'm ready to throw my whole business away. She was frustrated with some of the things that she was experiencing. And I said, let's get on Zoom. Let's get on Zoom and talk about this thing. So we met on Zoom and we talked through everything that she was experiencing in business. And then come to find out, it's not that what was happening to her was not normal, because all of us go through the things that she was going through. But she was taking that as, obviously I'm not cut out for this. This is just not for me. But the thing is, when I really listened to the things that she was experiencing, I'm like, everybody goes through that. Like, that what you're experiencing is not something that's not normal. Like, we all experience that at some point in business. And so after we talked for a while, we really got down to the bottom of it. And it wasn't that she wasn't cut out for it. It was just that she was just experiencing the difficulties of being an entrepreneur. And so that's what you got to think about. It's like, okay, this is hard. Like, marketing is hard, selling is difficult. Like, when it comes to the different components that go into things, it takes time to get to that point, right? No one wakes up and just they're just automatically an amazing seller. That's something that comes through the difficulties of falling down and getting back up again, having conversations with people, learning what works, what doesn't work, taking advice from your coaches and your mentors. Like, it is a process. And if you launch a program and you don't sell anything, or you get one client, that's okay. Right? It's just a part of what you have to go through to get to where you want to be. So I really just wanted to put some of those things into perspective so that you understand, okay, wait a minute. So you mean, like, this thing that I'm experiencing, like everybody goes through that, getting people in my courses, getting new clients, getting my marketing right, all of those things take time, but you have to be committed to the process of developing and working those muscles to get your business to where you want it to be. Okay. So number two, accepting that business is hard. And number three, being willing to do the work. Okay. It's hard, but that doesn't mean impossible. And what I mean by hard can look different it can be different for different people. Okay. You really have to choose your heart. because building a business is hard, but it's also very rewarding. It's it the feeling of helping people reach their dreams in whatever capacity you do it in. For me, helping someone to reach their dreams may look different than what it looks like when you help somebody reach their dreams. But in any case, helping people to reach their dreams, that's so fulfilling, like beyond the money, beyond getting paid to do this. Seeing people accomplish something that was just recently a dream to them. It was a far away thought. It was a one day I'm going to do this type of thought. And they go from one day I'm going to do this to actually doing it is very rewarding. So yeah, so the financial benefits that come along with it are great, but changing lives is so inspiring, is so empowering that it changes you in the process. And so a lot of that is it takes a lot of work to be able to accomplish those things and do it to the point where it's providing for you and for your family. I cannot tell you how many people I have met. They want the success on this side, but they don't want to do the work on this side. So it's like they want to achieve the success, but not put in the work that it takes to achieve that kind of success. I'm here to tell you there is no way that that's going to happen. You cannot achieve the kind of success that you're dreaming about and not be willing to put in the work. There really aren't any shortcuts, right? And I say this all the time. There are no shortcuts to success, just plain old hard work. It's that simple. Like nobody has a secret way to achieve success other than doing the work. I cannot tell you how many people I've met who say, "Oh, I want this. I want a six-figure business. I want this. I want this." But when you tell them what it takes to get there, they're like, "Oh, I can't do that. I'm not. I won't do that." And it breaks my heart every single time because I'm like, ugh, like you're not going to be able to achieve the kind of success you're dreaming about if you're refusing to do the work. And that, like I said, it looks different for everybody, but the thing to understand is that there are principles, and there are principles that lead to success. And there's some things that you can do differently, right? So and make things work for you. So for example, in our space, one of the principles for being able to um, close sales is having conversations with people, your ideal clients. Now, that's a principle, but how you have your conversations with your clients may look different. Your ideal clients, it may look different. Some people have conversations via direct messaging and they close sales in DMs. I had a client who was very successful at closing sales in the direct messages. So her conversations were not on the phone or on Zoom. Her conversations were in the direct messages, right? And then I have other clients who they'll get on the phone with people and talk on the phone with people, but it's still a conversation. So the principle of having conversations is still there, but how the conversations are had may vary from person to person. So that's one thing to really to think about is, okay, what are the principles that I need to have in place, and what's the difference between something that's a principle and something that I can switch up on? Okay, that's really important. So, like for example, one of the things that I teach is I told you guys a couple of weeks ago about a funnel that I'm working on, and it's just about finished and to be released on Monday. But in this funnel, I talk about creating authority building content, how you can create content that builds your authority and puts you in position to be seen as an expert, to be seen as an authority. And what happens is when people trust you and they see you as an expert, they're more willing to pay you because they see that you know what you're talking about. They see that you can help them to solve their problem. And so authority building content is very important. Okay. Now, that's a principle. A principle is when you're in the coaching or mentorship space, having some kind of content that people can go back and look at and say, oh, wow, this is some really good information. I want more of this. That's a principle. But how you put that content out may vary. For example, you may want to do it in a blog post. Maybe you want to share your content via live video, like how I do. Maybe you want to do pre-recorded video. Maybe you want to do audio, like my client that I talked about, who she closed sales and direct messages. She likes Clubhouse because she likes to do audio. So she puts her content out every week via audio streaming. So how my clients put their content out varies, but the principle is still the same. That they understand that they should be putting out new content every single week that their ideal clients can go back and look at. And we also talk about how to leverage that content to nurture your audience and drive sales as well. So creating content is a principle, but how you create it, how you put your content out may vary. So understanding the differences between, I don't want to do that, right? Because it could be, maybe you don't want to, you may be saying, okay, I don't really want to, I want to do that, but not that way. For example, if I tell all of my clients, well, you got to do live video every single week. Of course, I want them to go live. They already know. Of course, I want them to go live every single week. However, they may say, well, I don't want to go live every single week, but I'll do blog posts every single week, right? They're still honoring that principle, but they're doing it their way, in a way that works for them, right? So that's different. So I'm not talking about the person who says, well, I don't want to do the lives, but I'm going to do a blog post every week. That's a different kind of, I don't want to do that. I'm talking about the, I don't want to do that when it comes to doing the work that you need to do to get to your next level. And sometimes it's going to require you to do things that are hard. It's going to require you to do things that you haven't done before. It's going to require you to face some things within yourself that have been holding you back. I always say that entrepreneurship is the biggest personal development journey you're ever going to go on. Like, besides walking out your faith, for those of you who are believers, walking out your faith, that entrepreneurship is another huge life transformation journey, and it's probably one of the biggest that you're ever going to go on, because your business grows as you grow, and a lot of that comes with being willing to do the work that it takes to get yourself to the next level. Okay, so these are some of the mindset shifts that can literally grow your business. Number one, if you take what you do seriously, if you've been kind of relaxed or just kind of nonchalant about your business and what you do, now's the time to really take it seriously and wake up every day with the mission to serve your audience, with the mission not just to serve the people who aren't paying you, but the people who are paying you in a deeper capacity, and to really help them to get some meaningful transformation out of their lives, right? And understanding that this thing is so much bigger than you, okay? And then number two, accepting that this is hard. It's a hard journey. I think when I woke up this morning, I said to myself, I don't think anybody understands how hard this is except for those of us who are in it. Like, I don't think people understand how difficult it is to build a successful business. I feel like we're the only ones who understand us, right? That's why community is so important. It's so important to be around people who get you. They understand what you're going through, and they're going through it with you. But I really don't think that anyone who has not built a business, there's no way they can possibly understand how difficult this is. And that's why I tell people, stop taking business advice from people who have never started a business. Y'all need to stop doing that, okay? If they have never started a business, you cannot take business advice from a person who's never started a business. There's nothing like this, okay? And if you're going to take advice from somebody who is where you want to be, or their gifts and their skills and talents line up with helping you to accomplish something that's going to get you to the next level, okay? So number two was accepting that this is hard. And number three is be willing to do the work, you guys. Like, I cannot emphasize this enough. Like, if you haven't heard anything that I've heard, that if you haven't heard anything that I've said during this whole live video, hear me out on this one. You gotta be willing to do the work. You gotta be willing to do the work, and I promise you, it pays off. Like, you reap what you sow. Okay, so what you're putting in, you will get out. But the thing is, sometimes we get into something and we expect, like, overnight. We expect it to happen overnight. If you plant a seed, and you go out the next day expecting that seed to, to be growing where you can see it, then you're going to be disappointed, because that seed is probably not to the place yet where you can actually see a difference. And it's just like that with business. Like, what you're putting in your business, sometimes you don't see the results right away. But eventually, with your consistency and as long as you keep going, you will see a payoff. You will see some awesome changes. And this is why have you ever seen someone just pop up like out of nowhere? Like they just pop up and you're like, okay, where did this person come from? I see it all the time in the music industry. Like I'm like, growing up, like music for me is a lot different from what music is right now. So some of these new artists that I see, I'm like, where did this person come from? Like how did this person get on the scene? Like I don't even know like how. And I look at the person, I'm like, oh my goodness, they're like really successful. Like how did I miss this person? But sometimes it's like that in business where you see someone pop up out of nowhere and they're accomplishing amazing things, but what you didn't see is all of the work they were putting in, the years of work that they were putting in before that actually happened. And so I'm saying all that to you so that you understand like it takes time. And as long as you're consistent, you will get a payoff. Nothing that you're doing is going to be a waste for you. You're going to get a payoff, but you got to keep going and you got to believe that it's possible for you. All right, guys, I am going to wrap this up. If you're watching me from LinkedIn or YouTube, come on over to my Facebook group, Purpose Driven Coaches and Mentors. I'd love to have you join us inside of the Facebook group. And if you guys have any questions, as you know, feel free to send me a message. You can get me pretty quickly on Facebook Messenger. That's where my clients reach out to me at, and that's where I engage with them. So I respond to Facebook Messenger pretty quickly. So that's probably the fastest way to get in contact with me, even faster than email. Now, I do check all of my own emails and things like that, but Messenger is the fastest way to reach me if you have any questions or you want to talk through something that you're working on with your business, or if you'd like to book a consultation call to see how I can help you grow your business. Just send me a quick message on Facebook. You could also message me on LinkedIn. If you're watching me on YouTube, you could come over to one of the platforms and send me a message, or just send me a quick email at info@shantaprince.com. And I'll be back next week, guys, at the same time in the same place. Y'all have an amazing week and keep believing in yourself and keep putting in the work. And I'll see you back here next week at the same time.